everyone. So before we can custom frame a canvas, the first thing we have to do is we have to stretch it. And so typically when we have a customer bring us a canvas for custom framing, it'll come in rolled up just as you can see right here. So one of the first things that we have to do is we have to stretch it. And the way that we stretch it is we use these heavy duty stretcher bars. And so in this video, I'm going to show you the process of how we go about stretching it and custom framing a canvas sort of from beginning to end. So to illustrate that, I'm going to use this pretty large flag. This is a canvas art that is done by Alan Tuttle. We're actually distributing these flags for him in the San Diego area, so we have them for sale here. But they used to actually be available at the Ethan Allen stores, and he had them for 6 years there. And they were actually featured in one of the dream homes that HGTV does every year. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this to stretch it, and then we're going to frame it, and you're going to see the process how we go about it. So one of the things that we first do when a customer brings in a rolled up canvas is we try to figure out what style they want to go for. And the frame often determines the thickness of the stretcher bars that we're going to use. And so we basically have, three main categories. This is a real, thin stretcher bar, and this is often used for frames where, they're not that deep. And so the thing that you don't want to have is by the time you finish the framing is you don't want to have the stretcher bars sticking out, from the back of the frame too much. And so this wouldn't be that bad, but ideally you want to have it flat, or maybe even, the frame coming up a little bit more than the stretcher bar. So that's the thin stretcher bar. The next one we have, this is a little over an inch, and this is really good for, canvases that are, very large, like this one here. I think this flag is about 55 inches by 35 or so, and that's going to go really well. You probably don't want to use this, or you don't want to use a frame like this, where if you turn it back and once it goes up against your wall, to me I think this is sticking out, the stretcher bar sticking out a little too much beyond the frame, so that's probably not a good idea. But in the case of this flag, we are going to use this frame. As you can see, it's very deep. This is often used for shadow boxes. And so when you attach the frame to this stretcher bar after it has been stretched, you could see the back, and this is kind of the look that we're going for. You always want the frame to actually stick out beyond the stretcher bars and not the other way around. And then we also have a thicker one. This is the thickest stretcher bar that we have. You've often heard the term gallery wrap for canvases, and this is kind of what we use for that. And even this one would be okay. But when you add the thickness of the canvas, imagine that being stretched on the stretcher bar, that could even be sticking out a little too much. So for this particular project, we're going to go with this 1-inch stretcher bar. We're going to go with this nice dark ebonized thin profile frame, and we think the flag is going to look really awesome by the time we're done. So let's keep going. So once we measure the flag, the art, in this case the flag, and we figure out the thickness of the stretcher bar that we're going to use, this is how we get them. We get them in these long 8 to 10 feet sticks, we call them, and we get boxes of these things since we do a lot of stretching. But now we're ready to take them to our miter saw and begin cutting and assembling and joining, so that we can start stretching the art, in this case the flag. So here we go. Okay, so after cutting and joining the stretcher bars, it's time to wrap the flag around it, the canvas around it. And so the next step is going to be to bring it over to our, we use a special machine for stretching, and so that's going to be the next step. But everything is looking good. We got the stretcher bars ready. Let it dry for a little bit. We got the flag, and it's ready to get stretched. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go ahead and do the stretching, and the key to stretching it is to obviously get it lined up exactly around the edge that we need. So we have a special machine here that, first of all, we're able to do the stretching from the front of the art, so we can actually see how it's going to look. And it's just a matter of lining up the edges here. And we're going to go ahead and pull, see how it looks. And now that I have that, I can go ahead and take my staples and actually put them underneath. And now we're going to go ahead and repeat the process from the other side. This is where the actual stretch takes place. This is where it gets really tightened up. And I think it looks pretty good right there. I'm going to go ahead and pull. And you can see that now we begin to see the flag being stretched. Again, I'm going to staple it. Okay, so now that we have gone all the way around and put all the staples and wrapped the canvas around the stretcher bars, I think we're pretty much done. So let me show you what it looks like once it is fully stretched. So as you can see, it looks nice and tight. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the frame. For the frame, we're using a tall, dark ebonized frame. And it's going to look real nice, so that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so after cutting and joining the frame, I think we're pretty much done. You can see the frame over the flag. I haven't mounted it, but I wanted you to see how nice it looks when it's sort of superimposed. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and turn this over and tighten it. Put the hangers on the back, and it should be ready to roll. So that's how, that's what it takes to go from a rolled up canvas. We stretched it, and then we cut the frame and we mount it. And as you can see, it's quite different from how we started. So thank you so much for watching.